Hey, Nicole, you didn't have a song. Nicole, you didn't play a song. Oh, hey, wait, we're live. Look, like, oh my goodness. Hey, where's Damon? I don't see Damon here. I don't know where is the guy, you know? All right. So, hey, we have no Damon today. So, hey, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Manufacturing E-Commerce Success. Man, am I fired up. Look at these two lovely ladies. So I have a little co-host today. Damon Pistolka could not be with us. He's at a wedding. He's at a wedding with his family. He's out traveling. So, hey, Damon, we miss you, brother. Nicole Donnelly is filling in a seat. Nicole, happy Friday. How are you, my friend?
Happy Friday. It is a good Friday because next week is spring break.
Next week is spring break, last day of the quarter. And what a great way to end first quarter of 2023 with none other, the one, the only, Miss Bonnie. How are you, my friend?
How are you?
Hey, I'm doing awesome. So, guys, happy Friday. Hey, Ray Zagano's here today. Ray, happy Friday, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Anybody out there, drop us a note. Let us know that you're here. Boy, you absolutely want to connect with our dear friend, Bonnie, founder, CEO extraordinaire of GoLidZ. And we're going to be talking. Hey, what's a GoLidZ, by the way? Hey, we're going to be talking about this thing a little bit right here today. So, right, Bonnie, where's yours at? Hey, there it is. So we're going to be talking about this. Bonnie, before we go there, you are you know what? I'm sorry to say this. You're a repeat offender of Manufacturing E-Commerce Success. You were like one of our first guests when we first started doing this little shindig, if you will. Yeah. So I don't think I asked you this question. My opening question I'm going to ask of you today is this. Are you ready? Are you sitting down? Are you ready?
I'm sitting. Should I be laying down?
You're not. Sitting's fine. You're good. Okay. All right. Bonnie, my dear friend, we go way back. When you were a little girl growing up, who was your hero? Who was your hero when you were a little girl growing up?
How little?
Great question.
I don't know if I was ever little. You know, standing at 5. I don't believe I was ever little.
You're a tall, right? So 8 years old. Young. How about young little girl?
I'm going to go with Annie.
Oh my gosh, Annie. Oh my gosh, Annie Oakley. Oh, tomorrow.
No, not Annie Oakley. Annie. Broadway Annie.
Broadway Annie.
Oh.
I tried out for Annie.
You tried out for Annie on Broadway?
I tried out for the Broadway show.
All right, do share. Let's give. There's a story behind Annie.
Well,
let's hear.
I'm going to make a long story very short. I sing. And so when I was younger, I took singing lessons, whatever. Annie auditions opened up and I wanted to go try out. So you couldn't be any taller than 4'9". And my dad measured me and he told me and my mother that I was 4'9". He lied. I was 4'10".
You're 4'10".
But here's an interesting thing. This is where I started to learn about taking big shots, even though, you know, you might have a low probability of success. He taught me that because he sent us to the city. I tried out. I made the top 100 out of 5,000 girls.
Nice.
Yeah, we were there till 4 in the morning at the Alvin Theater in Manhattan. We were there all night, like into the wee hours of the morning. And the producer came over to my mother, pulled us backstage, and he's like, I'm very, very sorry to tell you, but Bonnie can't go through to the next round. And we said, why not? And he said, because you said she's 4'9". And my mom said she is 4'9". And he said she's pushing 4'10", 4'11 almost.
Oh,
like, what? No. And she said, my husband measured her. I'm positive he did it several times, 4'9". And he's like, well, I think your husband may have tricked you a little because maybe he thought we'd make an exception, but we can't.
We can't.
So you can't imagine little Bonnie crying my eyes out all the way home. My poor mother all the way back to Long Island. Just to get home, my father ran out of the room. It was like 4 a.m. And he's like, what happened? And I said, Dad, do you know how to measure? He's like, of course you know how to measure. And I said, uh-oh, what happened to the screen? What's happening? I'm back.
Good.
What just happened? It went away. And you were trying to know how to measure. And I said, did you know I was over 4'10"? And he just kind of like, he went like this. We were like, did you lie to us? Did you say? And he's like, look, I didn't want you to miss out on an opportunity because of a small detail. So, yes, I lied to you. And that's, that's what happened. But I understand now why he did it. Because he figured, why let something hold you back?
Right.
That detail is, yes, it was important. We didn't know how important it was until we were standing in this theater talking to the producer. Something to do with speakers, picking up the sound. And they didn't want Annie to be over a certain height because she was supposed to be a smaller level than the other girls that were in the show that were a little bit taller. Don't ask. But yeah, so Annie.
So
you got so far. You had to at least that's a cool. You made it to what round was that? Like to the top 100 out of 5,000? Is that what you said?
5,000. We were there. We were in the theater for about 12 hours. I mean, it was nonstop auditioning, on and off the stage, on and off the stage. One of the best experiences I've ever had. Too bad it ended in tears and anger, but and then after that, I actually wanted to pursue singing career, but clearly I didn't because we're here with this thing. So
that's
clearly,
I think you just need to give us your rendition of Tomorrow. This is your platform,
Oh,
no.
Well, Bonnie, what's bigger than Broadway is right here on Manufacturing E-commerce Success. We would love to hear The Sun Comes Out Tomorrow. Can we just get a little taste? No, we're not going to go there. No. Okay.
I cannot. Well, I can't have that living live on LinkedIn.
We're not recording. It's just us.
Really, it's forever. Anytime anybody looks me up,
private conversation.
Can you imagine like another CEO or another brand and looking me up and they're like, "What is this woman doing? Is she singing songs on a live?"
Sales will be like a hockey stick. Are you kidding?
Right.
Singing Tomorrow, little Annie. So, guys, happy Friday. If you're joining us, drop us a note. Let us know that you're out here. We're here with Bonnie, the founder, CEO of GoLidZ. We're going to be geeking out on manufacturing, made in USA, women in manufacturing, recycled, sustainability in manufacturing, e-commerce in manufacturing. Bonnie, you check every box, right? And so we have all sorts of fun things to discuss. We try to. So, hey, it's just an honor, privilege to have you back on the show. You and I go back a ways. And I've just been following your, I think I might be self-professed president of the GoLidZ fan club. I've always been there, cheering you on, rooting you on. As a matter of fact, why don't we have a little drink while we take a little break here to our GoLidZ right here. Look at this thing. You put your sandwich, you put your donut, your soda right here. It is just so, Bonnie, how did you come up with this idea? Can you please share with everybody how on earth did this brainchild come about?
I actually thought of this. This is the part of the story that always shocks everyone. I thought of it back in 1990. 1990. Before the phone, before anything. I mean, before we had social media, we were still living with Atari and everything. Dinosaur that we all know in this
1990. You're in diapers then, weren't you? Or like 2-3 years old?
Yeah, right. I was a sophomore. I'm dating myself, but I was a sophomore in Arizona going to college. Mm-hmm. And the long story short is that I went on a date, a really lousy date. We went to the movies in Arizona, and it was actually Harkins Theaters where we went. If they're listening, by the way, they should let us in by that fact alone. Right, and we got all this food. We got like popcorn, hot dogs, candy, sodas, everything that you get. And for some reason, this moron gave everything to me to carry. Who does that? Like, who does something like that? But the worst part is that I was young and just plain old stupid. And I took all of it. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be difficult. So I just took everything. And I was carrying all of it. I was overdressed. I was wearing a little black dress and heels. And I'm 5'10". So I was already now I'm wearing the heels. I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
At the movie theater. I mean, if I go to the theater now with my husband, I wear jeans and a t-shirt and sneakers. I don't know. Young, overexcited to go on a date. I don't know. So we get to the theater. and he doesn't have any seats, and we climb into the middle of the row, and there's always like a big man there, someone with like gigantic knees waiting for you.
Yes, there is.
My heel got like stuck on his knee, and I just went over. And I didn't just go over. I landed on the ground, and in the process, the popcorn, the lids came off the sodas, the candy, the hot dogs. I mean, I soaked, like, I can't tell you how many people I soaked. In front, in the row, and then behind them, like 3 different rows of soaked people. They're yelling at me, they're cursing at me. I won't repeat what they were saying. And it was really horrible. And I sat in the seat, and the whole time, all I could think about was like, that should not have happened. You know, why can't some of those things be attached or whatever? It was just like a thought in my head. And I left the theater. I actually went home and I drew it. I drew a sketch of what I thought it should look like. It was actually like a SpongeBob type drawing. I'm not the best sketch artist. So I still have it, by the way. I should have brought the book. I have all these pictures that I drew. I drew our trademark. I drew all these things. And then I graduated and I went back to New York and just moved on with life. I got into the corporate world and I kind of moved on. And everyone always says to me, why didn't you do anything? And the main reason is because of this. Because at the time, I felt like it was a nice to have type of thing. It was solving an inconvenience, but it wasn't really solving like this massive problem because we weren't down a hand. You know, you didn't give your phone away yet to Steve Jobs at that point. So I waited and really until like 99, 2000, where the cell phone came out, but just the kind that like the Motorola flip phone, right? The kind that like rang and text. You didn't walk around with it because it didn't do very many things. 2007, the smartphone. 2008. And now everyone has a smartphone. And now you're doing more business on the phone than you are from your laptop. And, you know, I'm sitting outside Starbucks, Dunkin', all these places in the city. And you see people now totally different. They're walking through the streets. They're glued to their phone. They're bumping into people. They're dropping food, dropping beverage. And you can see they're struggling. Like they can't manage it all because suddenly now this thing is like attached to our hands. Especially depending on the generation, you know, I mean, it's attached to all of us. But then if you drop down into like millennials and then Gen Z, look at TikTok. They don't put it down. Everything's a moment. Everything's an opportunity to post a video wherever they are, which is one good thing we love about this because it's very, you know, video friendly to show off something that you just found or that you just got. And that's really what happened. You know, we just kind of saw an opportunity later on. Timing is everything. And I think every inventor and founder will say that. The timing is everything. And if your timing is off, you could have the greatest product in the world and wrong timing, lack of success. So I felt like for us, that was it. That was our moment. And that was it. I got out of the whole corporate world after 20 years. And here I am. I've been here for the last 10 years. It's 10 years. We celebrated 10 years this past August.
Well, congratulations. 10 years. So Bonnie, I want to hit that for a second. So 20-year corporate warrior, safe, secure, paycheck. Somebody's out there like, they're that, man, I have an entrepreneurial dream. I wish I could get out of corporate or job or what have you. Going back 10 years ago, what was that leap of faith? Scary, exciting? What was that entrepreneurial plunge? What did that look like for you?
Super scary. Super, truly, because the biggest reason it's because you don't know what you're doing and you have no idea where to start. What do I do? Who do I call? Do I go to do you have an idea? So if you have an idea and you're out there and you're thinking, well, what do I do first? For me, my first step was a cab ride to the lawyer's office in Rockefeller Center. Because that's the first thing. I mean, you have to begin protecting yourself. And from there, you learn a whole slew of stuff. I mean, the patent process is crazy in its own right and very expensive. Right. So I didn't even know what we were doing, but we started there. And then I guess my next thought was, well, you have to learn because you don't know. So you've got to start learning. So what do? You surround yourself with the best and the brightest that you can possibly find anywhere, So I just started recruiting people onto the team, former Pepsi, former Coke, former employees that were now kind of in advisory consultant roles that I could learn from. And that's what I did. And I owe them a debt of gratitude because I didn't know much about food and beverage. I came out of one industry I was in was fashion for 10 years.
Mhm.
And then the other industry I got in for 10 years was real estate. So all I knew about food and beverage is that I really like it. I love food and I love beverage, but that's it. I didn't know any of the lingo. I didn't know the business.
And,
I love
and, and you didn't want to go on any more embarrassing dates, of course. That was another reason, right? So
That guy, I should call him. I should thank him.
I wonder where he's at now. Yeah, I was just going to say, like, to me, I think this is a really great example of being confident, but also being humble. Because you were confident enough in yourself to say, hey, I believe in this, what I have, this vision, but I'm humble enough to ask for help. And I think that that's like a really magic combination. Like if you're only confident but not humble, you can get yourself into real trouble, right? Like if you're not willing to stop and ask for help. But then on the other hand, if you're too humble, you don't have the confidence to go out there, you're never going to get your product out there. So I just think that's like such a great example of like being confident, but also being humble and not being afraid to ask for help where you need it,
It's such a good point, Nicole. Really, it's a good point because I think you sometimes will come across a founder who's got all the answers. They have the answers, they know it all already. They know exactly how it's going to go. And I don't think there's any chance of that working out in the long run because there is so much to learn, especially if you're getting into an industry that you really don't know as well as so many other experts would tell you that they know. For me, I didn't know an eighth, an iota of what I needed to know. So I was humble. I went to these people and I told them the idea and I said, I'd love for you to join us and I'm really here to learn from you. And they were amazing. I mean, I learned so much from these people.
Yeah. And I think you're never done learning as an entrepreneur because you're always having to pivot, right? There's always something new that you've got to figure out. There's a change in, whatever, how people live, maybe, who knows what's going to happen with phones in the future. You're always having to think ahead and like, what do I need to be doing to continue to innovate for my customers? And it just never ends. It's always the joy of it.
It is the joy of it. And it's also, you constantly are pivoting. Look at the pandemic. We pivoted many times in the pandemic. We had to. I mean, that's really what led us, talking about e-commerce. I mean, that's what led us to that door because food service. I mean, everything was kind of up in arms. I said, what are we going to do? So that's really what started us thinking about B2B e-commerce and direct-to-consumer e-commerce. That's exactly how we got there. We started realizing that we need another way to reach B2B customers. We need another way to reach consumers. And, and during the pandemic, and obviously it's continued, but online shopping, it was, the boom of everything. Food shopping, products, that's all we did, all of us. We sat home and we ordered all day long, spent a fortune that way.
So Bonnie, so let's go here. So guys, if you're just joining us, again, we're talking about GoLidZ. You absolutely want to connect with Bonnie on LinkedIn. And I'd love to, we've got a ton to cover, Bonnie, but you are a fierce marketer, videos, TikTok. You're pulling and you're like boots in the streets, getting people to test your product out. But I just want to show everybody this product. It's just an amazing product. You talk a little bit about, we're going to dig into e-commerce. You're hitting like direct to consumer, B2B, pivoting, everything that you've talked about. But I'd be remiss if we didn't really dig into like what an innovative solution that you've provided for like the busy soccer mom, hockey mom, whatever, on the run mom, in the mom van, right? And guys, what she's done is she's created this cup with this attachment here. But Bonnie, just talk about like how, just like, what did it take to invent this thing?
Hold on, I'm going to lean over. I'm going to take one off. You should see what's going on here in my office.
Yeah.
Like, you can't see, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But there are
look at this.
And hundreds of lids dangling from the ceiling, like everywhere.
But look at how the straw goes through, where it
Yes,
doesn't
sir.
impede with your whatever food item you have. But this is just such a brilliant, innovative piece of equipment here.
Did you hear all that?
We didn't see anything.
Let's just say a tower just went over.
We didn't see a thing.
Someone's looking at me right now like, what did you just do? So just to be clear for everybody, we don't make cups. We set on a mission not to make cups.
Right.
So we've never made a cup. We just replace a standard food service cup lid. So this lid, and you could see the lid is like engraved. It's actually a lid engraved into this container.
Right.
And this lid snaps on in place of the food service cup lid. And it snaps on the cup and just becomes the lid that holds food. You can close it. Straw goes through there like Kurt's, and then you wind up with this.
Yep.
So cool. Now, are there different sizes for different size lids, or does it?
There are. So we cover like the main industry standard sizes, like 20 ounce, 24 ounce, 32 ounce, 40 ounce, like that drink that drowns you at 7-Eleven, or the movie theater, the gigantic drink that drowns your organs, that thing. Yeah, I could never drink one of those. Like even 32 ounces, like this is a Starbucks Trenta, and that's like 30 ounces of liquid, and it's a big drink. It's a lot, but it's super popular. That size is that's our best selling size, is the larger size. And it's funny because back to like the whole process, it took forever to get here. This thing was not where we started. This is like iteration number 50.
50, yeah.
So we started out, this thing was tiny. Like I could grab one and show you what it was. Tiny. It didn't hold anything. Like nothing fit in this thing. Now this thing holds 2 hot dogs, but before it didn't hold. We were still iterating. We were still learning and trying to figure it out. The functionality was off. I mean, we went through years and years and years of struggle and problems just with the product alone and manufacturing issues. Tons
What
of
did you? It reminds me of that movie. Have you seen the movie Joy? It's about that. She
my
created
favorite
this.
movie. It's one of my favorite movies, The Mop.
Really, immediately makes
People
me
say
think
to
of
me that
Jessica.
I'm Joy.
Thank
People
you.
that like your Joy.
Yeah, exactly. Your Joy. It's a story of this woman who created this. I don't know the name of I don't remember the name of the mop, but it's this massively
It was
popular
a
mop.
magic mop that they sold on HSN QVC.
Yes.
And Bradley Cooper was in it.
Yep.
And
And
it really was.
Yeah.
Every time I watch it, I bawl crying. And I know a lot of people like you cry during Joy. For me, I do. Because watching her go through what she went through, the struggle, trying to figure it out, and then she lost all her money. Then a manufacturer tried to steal her molds. She had to go to Texas and fight this guy to get it back. And she lost her house. She lost her husband. Like, it is such a true story. It's about Joy Mangiano, who's still inventing and still a genius businesswoman now. But yeah, I relate to that so much because the struggle is real. And
struggle is real.
A lot of people would look at you and say, like, 10 years. What's taking so long? It is that 10 years in the world of an entrepreneur. It's not that long. It doesn't, nothing happens in 2 years, 3 years. No way. In rare instances, but most of the time, no, it's like a climb to the top of the hill, and it takes forever.
What keeps you going up that hill, Bonnie, when it's like really hard and you just get like knocked down and you're like, man,
alcohol.
That sucked.
Not gonna lie.
Okay,
I'm sorry. Was I not supposed to say
what's your drink of choice?
Is LinkedIn gonna flag this and take it down?
Yeah, they might. So
yeah, she said alcohol. She said something unsavory.
So Bonnie, so let's go here. So let's slide into e-commerce and like walk us through like kind of the sales process, like who ideal customers that you were trying to open up the door to, and then like what was there an aha moment? Like COVID, everybody's going e-commerce, but what, and I remember being in my garage, you and I having a long conversation about e-commerce, like probably 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But, walk us through your, so you've shared your entrepreneurial story, that leap of faith, scary plunge that you took. Let's go into your e-commerce story now.
The e-commerce for us, like I said, during the pandemic, we started with B2B. So DTC was an afterthought. That did not happen until this past August, even though we were working on it for a year. Mm-hmm. The B2B occurred because what happened was interesting for us during the pandemic. We were getting a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails from some angry businesses. And we were like, what's going on? And they were angry because we only were offering pallets of product. So in order to try a new innovative product, we're saying, yes, you have to spend close to $5,000. That just doesn't fly, especially not in an economic moment of turmoil. They're just not willing, but they want to try it. And especially for us, this cover, that lock, it seals out, all the air. That was really top of mind. It still is top of mind, but that's a big deal. If you're outside, you eat, you have your food, you want to protect what you purchased, your family, your kids. And they're like, we don't get it. Why can't we just order a case or two? And I'm like, because we're just not set up for that. We were not set up for that because we manufacture out of New York. And that manufacturer, they're not accustomed, it's just not the business that they're in, is a pick and pack. So that led us to the whole 3PL world. Need a 3PL. And if you want to be in that business, you need a 3PL, unless you're going to do it out of your house, which is insanity. Nobody would do that. So we had to move all of our inventory over to Chicago, get a 3PL. That's a month-long process. I mean, months and months it took to get that done. And we started offering cases. And that made them very happy because now, instead of saying, want to try our innovation, it's thousands and thousands of dollars. It's now you can buy as little as one case you can buy. So someone can go onto our site, purchase a case, try it out. If they love it, come back and order more at your own pace. If they hate it, then don't ever order again. Basically taking all the risk out for them, de-risking the offer, which I think is a huge component of all manufacturing, like for all e-commerce. If anything is too scary online, they're going to run away from it. So we were like, how do we make this as easy and risk-free as possible? So what's their risk here? What are they spending on one case? That's their total risk. That's their total exposure. It's nothing. Yeah. But asking people to spend $5,000, that's not nothing.
That's right.
Especially for a small business. I mean, we're not talking McDonald's or Dunkin', huge companies that would never order for their businesses online. Talking smaller establishments that have 1, 2, maybe even 10 or 20 locations, but they're not, they're not looking to place an order for 2 million units, trucked over to their, to their warehouse. It's a different type of business for them. So that's what led us there, and that's doing well. I think there's still a component of how you get found, which is what you do, Kurt. How do you stop being the best kept secret?
That's right.
How do you maximize your SEO? Your show, I watched it the other day with Nicole on. So great. I mean, I'm not done with you guys, so
yeah.
We love you.
I'm going to be enlisting you guys. We're at that point where we do need help. I do need to find out how to get people to the pink Nike shoe. That Kurt talks about, the pink sneaker.
With the
you really do. Yeah, you have to figure it out, and it is so hard to do. And with a product like ours, it's even harder. We're not a cup. We're not a lid. There's not a lot of other companies you can log on to and find something like this, which is good, but also creates a bit of a sting when it comes to what are they searching for? If you're searching for something that you don't know exists, that's tough. So we have to find a way to show up in other people's categories.
And this is a very common problem for our manufacturing space, especially innovators. We're like, you're the inventor, you've created something new on the market where it's like, I'm not typing running shoes. I'm not typing, pizza. I'm not typing, a commodity, flowers or whatever it might be. It's like, I don't even know that this solution exists. Bonnie, you are absolutely amazing with your videos. You are absolutely not the best kept secret. And there were like tons of wonderful comments this week. People are super fired up to hear your story here today. But just share a little bit of like how you took that plunge. As a matter of fact, like a couple of years ago, you're like, "Hey, Kurt, have your daughter check out my TikTok." Like you were blown, like you have some TikTok videos with like literally hundreds of thousands. Even like one had like, what was it, like 5 million views or something crazy?
No, actually, our biggest hit so far, and I posted about this on LinkedIn about a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
We have a video that hit 33.2 million views.
33 million.
Wow.
So for folks that are new,
we have one today that just hit 10 million.
10 million. Oh my God. This is phenomenal. So guys, if this is new to you, you want to check out Bonnie, go to her LinkedIn profile, go to GoLidZ, check out what she is. Just such an inspirational story here, as you can tell. But just talk about like, how you decide to like collectively, intentionally, I'm going all in on social, your video strategy. Let's go there.
I mean, it's ever changing. We're actually in a moment right now where we're taking a step back, looking at it and saying, okay, got to switch it up, because that's one rut that I think everybody gets into. Marketing, it's not a one size fits all, and it's not a forever timeline. So it's not like, okay, we figured something out, we'll just run that for the rest of time. No, it gets stale, it gets boring. People start seeing the same thing over and over, and they get bored and they tune you out. And especially on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, it needs to be fresh. And I feel like we're at an inflection point where we've been posting a lot of the same stuff, and yeah, we'll switch this, we'll switch that, but I think we have to craft another version of our story and yet tell the same story, if that makes sense. A new spin, a new twist. But yeah, we did go all in on these platforms, because you have to continually stay, top of mind, front and center to these consumers, to these businesses. And if you fall off the map, you disappear, then they forget all about you. So out of sight, out of mind. I will say that one big component of e-commerce, and anyone that's listening that's considering starting to sell, B2B e-com or D2C, it's tricky. It's tricky. You need to use it and leverage the marketing to get sales. But at the same time, the world we're living in now, a lot of it has to do with running ads. And I'm not going to lie, when we launched our direct-to-consumer packs, I didn't really know that. I knew about ads, of course, but I didn't know that you need to continuously run ads over and over and over and over. And it is a lot of money. It's very expensive. So that's why good marketing is even needed more than ever. Because if you don't have that budget, you don't plan on dropping that kind of money for ads on a monthly basis, then your marketing needs to be good. Needs to have videos, needs to have, a story that is relatable to the product. Kind of like a warm story, like an entrance into the company, to feel like, okay, I can relate to that. I can actually, they're speaking my language. I want to know more. And it's a tough thing to figure out how to do it. It really is.
Yeah, it's so true. The organic reach on these social platforms, especially Facebook, Instagram, and it's just going down over time. It's getting harder and harder to reach organically. And if they can increase their ad, to get their ad, they want to get people to pay advertising. So it's kind of sad.
Yeah, and Nicole, you know what? That's a really good point. Not only has the organic reach gone down tremendously, and actually TikTok, they just changed their algorithm to they became a short form content platform. That's what they became known for. You could go viral by running a video for 7 seconds and be a viral success. And that was the beauty of it. And that's what everybody loved about it, including companies. Now they've just made an announcement that they are now prioritizing longer form content. And they're trying to go head to head with YouTube. And for us, we're a bit stuck now on TikTok, because that's what we do. We do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's all we need for our videos. And now, they're kind of like cutting all that short form. They extended, you can now video on there for 10 minutes. Some people, not everyone has that feature, but some people do.
Yeah. Wow.
So, that's what, like you said, it's forever changing. The organic reach has gone down. And then if you have a business account, which of course ours are all business accounts, yeah, they're cutting off your reach because they want you to start paying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a tricky thing about socials. You're really at the mercy of their algorithm. You don't have any control over how they're going to change. It's the same thing with Google search, the same thing. Which of the platforms has really performed the best for you?
Up until like now, TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that we have so many videos at like 8 million, 9 million, 10 million, 12 million.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, it's rare that you go viral on Facebook. We had a video 2 months ago went viral, crazy, 10, 12 million on Facebook, which is for Facebook, their algorithm's very different than a TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely do you get picked up like that on a Facebook. So, but it's hard. I would say for us, the best performing is TikTok, and that's probably going to change now. That's if TikTok doesn't get banned. Let's not all forget what's going on in the news and the government. TikTok might not be any longer, and that's why you really have to diversify the platforms. If you put all your faith in one platform and the algorithm changes or the app completely goes away for something like interference, what do you do? What do you do? You're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it's just, I think, reinforces how important your owned assets are. Your website, your email list. Like, how can you build your email list and build off of that?
Right, and own that audience off the platform.
Exactly.
So that it's your audience, it's not their audience, and they pull the plug. It's gone.
It's true. I read this really great book about community-led marketing, which kind of talks a little bit about that, how build your audience on social, but then you've got to create your own community that they're engaging with you. And you see these talk all the time, but that seems like a good way to safeguard your growth long-term is to have those engaged evangelists that buy your product over and over again, that will be your marketing arm for you.
Yeah. And it's hard to do, especially on a platform like TikTok, the profiles are all kind of hidden. Like Facebook, there's names and stuff. TikTok, it's all like, you don't know who the person is. It could be an 18-year-old, it could be a 50-year-old. So it's tough to target your followers on a platform like that.
So Bonnie, let's go here. So if you haven't checked it out, you have to check out Bonnie's profile. Right on LinkedIn, you can see a bunch of her videos. If you're an older guy like me, you're like TikTok, yes, go on TikTok, check out GoLidZ. If you have a teenager in the house, just have your teenager do it. They'll do it in about 3 seconds for you. And just, what I love is like, you really understand your buyer persona, that ideal buyer. Nicole, we love to call them those soulmates, but you have like a hysterical video, woman pulling up to a red light and like she spills everything all over in her van, and she's looking at the person next to her and they're sipping on a GoLidZ, and you have other funny videos like that one in Texas, the one I'm talking about with those two guys in the park.
She actually, we had the woman who pulled up next to her. She kind of had her drink and her food, and she was like, she saw the woman next to her was like stressed out with the kids, and she was like, cheers,
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant marketing. So let's go there for a little bit. So, we work with a lot of, through the MEP network, we encounter a lot of manufacturers where, again, like they've solved their own problem and now they're the inventor, the innovator. Nobody knows that this product exists. They're not going to Google it. But just like I feel like your marketing is bold. You're courageous. You're in the streets talking to strangers. I show you, like, as a matter of fact, like you've been my benchmark for 3 years. I think every single one of my LinkedIn workshops has your profile and how like you're walking up to the streets of people in New York,
really
showing your product. But just talk about like, what's it take to like have that courageous that courageousness, that boldness with your marketing message. And I feel like you really represent that. Just, can you share that for us?
Yeah, I think if you have that kind of a product, then you have to find another way to break through. It's not a traditional, path, You've got this unique product and it's something that the world's not seen before. So you've got to find another way to like approach it with people. The people on the street for us, that was not a plan. Like we did not, that was not, I can't take credit for like that marketing plan.
Mm-hmm.
We just were being approached everywhere we went, the airport, the street, anywhere we went, inside Starbucks, inside Dunkin', like inside locations, people tapping you on the shoulder and saying, excuse me, hello, what is that? Where'd you get it? And that's when it dawned on us that I was like, why aren't we capturing these moments? You know, why aren't we using this as leverage for the marketing? That's how that was hatched. And people were stopping us for a long time. We were just like, oh, thank you. Like the light didn't go off for a while. And I kept like, after all those people, I was like, why are we not taking a hold of this? And at least asking them if we could video them. Don't get me wrong. 96% of these people, they say no. You cannot. Do not turn on your camera. But 4% of them say yes. And that turns out to be a lot of people. I can't leave the house with this in my hand or walk through the street without someone somewhere along the way saying, excuse me, what is that? You know, we've created ruckuses inside locations because there was confusion about if I got it there. You know, how do you explain to someone that it's mine, but I didn't get it here? But it's
like so cool. It's like a happy accident, those happy accidents that happen that can help us like figure out the direction that we need to go.
Yeah. And for anyone listening, if you have that kind of a product, if you have a really innovative product, something that is not a commodity, that you can't go log on to 10 other companies and find the same thing with a different mousetrap, then you do have to find a way. You have to find another way to strike in to the market, whether it's through consumers, whether it's whatever the approach is, it's got to be different. It can't be a traditional hire an ad agency, hire a marketing agency, and they're going to do what they do for the sneaker company for you. It won't work.
Well, you know, it's an example of being really, really scrappy, like my partner in crime over here is. So I love it. Scrappy.
Yeah, you gotta be. Scrappy is the best thing you could be. Do what you can with the resources. When I first started, I taught myself how to edit videos.
Yeah, I remember.
Full blown edit. Like I could take 10 minutes of footage and chop it down to 20 seconds, and that could take me about 5 minutes.
Right. You had it down to a science, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't do a ton of it now. Like we do have people that help us. Obviously, I can't do everything, but I can step in, and knowing that is great. Like I can be scrappy. I can step in a pinch and say, you know what? I'll do it. Give it to me. I could edit it.
So Bonnie, let's go here with e-commerce. So again, we're here to talk about direct-to-consumer e-commerce, B2B e-commerce. Guys, we're here with Bonnie, founder, CEO of GoLidZ. You absolutely want to check out her website. Any words of wisdom, advice, things you would that went really smooth, went really well on e-commerce, things that maybe you would advise to do a little bit differently? So somebody out there starting their e-commerce journey, what do you have to share there?
We're like I was saying earlier, you know, we only launched our direct-to-consumer GoLidZ consumer packs. And if anyone, they're probably thinking, what is she talking about? They are packs of GoLidZ that snap on all your favorite brands' cups. So it's what Kurt has, but they come in a pack. I don't have the box right in front of me. It's over there. I would have to get up and go get it. But they come in packs, and they come in small, medium, large, and they snap on everything. Hello. They snap on all your favorite brands, and there's actually a brand guide tells you exactly what fits on what. But when we launched that, we put these packs out, and we did a pack of 12, right? And so we were learning, okay, well, is that going to be well received? It is well received, but we learned along the way that a lot of people felt like they didn't want that many. Why can't I buy 4? Why can't I buy 6? Why can't I buy 2? So, you know, that's one main thing we learned is get the offer right. I think the feedback we were getting, a lot of the feedback was it's kind of cold. It's not a warm offer. It's not inviting. You like it by, you know, in their minds, I guess we were pushing a family pack. You know, why do I need 12? They're reusable. You can wash them out. They're so rock solid. I mean, you have one with you.
Yep.
How long have you had that?
you sent these out to Damon and myself probably 2.5 years ago, right? 2 years
It's
ago.
still in perfect condition.
And it's in perfect condition, guys. And again, like somebody just typed in, guys, thank you for joining us here today. So for a demo, so if you take your sandwich, take a donut, hot dog, whatever, and what you do is you pop it in here. I've taken a separate lid, and as Bonnie said, she doesn't manufacture the cup, but this is fully recycled plastic. She has it, extremely cost effective. And so you can put your sandwich in here. Now you're driving, you're at the movie, you're at the ball game, wherever you're at. And it's just, it's one, and like, as Bonnie was describing, if you missed it earlier, I'm on my phone here and I'm just kind of like enjoying my refreshment over here. So just genius innovation here. Absolutely love what you've done. Bonnie, just talk about the sustainability. And I know, like you shared with me, like it took you quite a while to get this little, look at, and the straw comes through here where it doesn't impede my sandwich. So again, I can put it right in the cup holder of my vehicle or wherever you're at.
You can, it's got all these great features over time that we added, which really make it user friendly. Like you can lock it up.
Yep.
Take a
Cool.
bite. This is my little GoLidZ prop today.
That's your GoLidZ prop.
Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't find anything. I was like, what do I throw in there?
I was going to throw my power bar in there, but I didn't know if
I do that all the time. I'll go to the car. I'll throw like protein bars on top because it's just we always say it's just a convenience vehicle.
Right.
It's just a vessel to put anything you want. You put fruit salad, healthy foods. There you go. It holds more than it looks like it holds. It holds a lot of food. And then you could lock, it's got a lock in the front, so it doesn't like go flinging open.
Right.
And I mean, it over time emerged into like this really convenient vehicle. But back to the whole direct to consumer. Yeah, we're learning as we go. We did add a 4-pack now instead of just a 12-pack. But, I think you also learn that you have to take everything that you hear with a grain of salt. And it is not all gospel. And what I mean by that is consumers will complain and they will request different things. But at the end of the day, like in our case, we added the 4-pack. It took us a month and a half to put this together. Not easy. You got to go back to the 3PL. They have to start kitting different sizes. And guess what? We're still selling more of the larger pack than we are of the 4-pack.
Right.
So we grabbed onto that consumer feedback like it was, a religion. And it turns out that it's a lot of complaining, but they're still buying the larger packs.
The larger pack. Right.
So I think it's important to take what you hear. They're always going to say something and you have to kind of decipher what does that really mean.
That's a phenomenal point. And I'm a big history buff. Nicole and I were big history buffs. And I know, Steve Jobs always says, like he almost says, like, you don't listen to the customer, right? I guess, he was a bit of an anomaly. But even like Henry Ford with the famous, boy, if I listened to my customer, I would have just delivered faster horses, So it's hard finding that balance of like, where do you like really dig deep and understand the customer and solve, and that's exactly what you did, is you solved your own problem from your movie theater story, which is now hysterical, but how many moms, dads, kids, whatever, have been in that position that we need your solution. But like you said, it's like, where do you find that fine line of like, well, maybe I know not necessarily better than the customer, but I'm going to stick with what I'm, like the 12-pack versus the 4-pack. So that does become challenging finding that balance, right?
Yeah. It does, and you have to manage how many hoops you're willing to jump through,
right?
And is it worth doing,
right?
Because when we got that feedback, I was like, right. I had everyone running in a million directions to make sure that we had a 4-pack. I'm like, what's wrong? We need to get it up. And now that it's up on the site, still not it's not that popular.
Sometimes you overreact, right? So I know, man, Bonnie, you and I, like, when we talk on the phone, it's like I look down and like all of a sudden like an hour goes by like that. So we just love to geek out, and I want to be mindful of time here. But as we start coming down, we've talked a lot about direct to consumer e-commerce. You've really, you're in a B2B play. You're attacking like 7-Eleven type, franchises, folks that would use your product as an add-on. Talk a little bit about your B2B side of things for anybody out there that's like, hey, they're an inventor. What does that look like? Or B2B e-commerce specifically, what's that journey look like for you?
Are you talking B2B e-com or B2B just in general?
You know what? Let's hit both. Let's start B2B generally, and then let's slide into the B2B e-commerce.
B2B generally, you really, I think the best thing you need to do, the smartest thing to do is kind of narrow into where does the product fit? Like, where does it really belong?
Nice.
Because one thing that we learned early on is you just can't start like dialing for dollars and calling 100 different companies.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a good strategy. You want to put together a short list of kind of hero customers that you think you can deliver massive value to.
Good.
And those are the ones you want to go, you know, those are the ones you want to go to. Is kind of, even if it's a real short list, like I would say, put together a list of 10 hero customers. And then I would chop that down like you're at some kind of a beauty pageant. You know, like you start with 10 and then you go down to like the finalists and chop it further. Keep researching, and then go down and knock it down to 4. 4. And even, let me tell you, even 4 B2B well-crafted pitches, chock full of information that are worthy of being seen by an executive of one of those companies, that's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. So you might think, oh, 10, that's not a big deal. 10 is a massive deal. I would start with 4, so it's not so mind-blowing. And kind of take your team or whoever surrounds you and dive in. Start, you know, make sure you're ready. We could spread this one all day long. I could talk about being ready all day, because when we won't get into that, but when we first started, our first pitch was to one of the biggest beverage brands in the world, and we were not ready. But we took something on that did not work out. And it's all fine. That's part of the process. You know, failure is part of the process. So, but yes, make sure you're ready before you go swinging for the hills. And then when you are ready, you know, break it down, take it piece by piece. You know, I'm a big fan of I'm not a big fan of like the whole email lengthy sales pitch, because they don't stop coming, and they're rarely well received. Not because maybe what you said isn't great. It's just because there's just too many. Right. And I'm sure you guys can relate to this. I mean, I get 30 emails a day pitching different services, and they all blend together. So I don't know. I like the old fashioned approach. Some might say I don't agree, but I still think picking up the phone and trying to connect on a more personal level, or send a handwritten letter. Yeah, old school. Use a pen. Pens and pencils, they're still very popular in this world. Yes. The phone works.
There's nothing like a handwritten note. There really isn't. I cherish all of the handwritten notes I've gotten from clients and partners, and you know.
Me too. There's something to it when you get a handwritten note from if I've gotten handwritten notes from a customer, or you're a customer. There's something about that. You open it up, that person took the time. And so I think if you can find a way to connect with any of these executives and these companies that you want to get into, try and do something anti-digital. Honestly, I think they will appreciate the anti-digital approach, because so few go down that path.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to do something digital, what I also like, I love this approach, because everybody sends the email and it's like, oh, more emails in my inbox, more work for me to dig through. Everybody loves to send the LinkedIn notes, DMs. Don't do that. Don't ever send a LinkedIn DM to a major executive at a company.
Wait a minute, Bonnie. But you have to explain to everybody. You know what what's the famous line on LinkedIn that you shouldn't use? Can you please share with everybody?
How can I help you?
Oh my God.
How can I help you? Now let me explain to your audience why how can I help you sucks. It is not good. When people hear how can I help you, you know what they hear? How can you help you? How can I help me to your wallet? How can I help myself to your project? It is not a good approach. Right?
Oh my God.
You've got to stop saying,
She,
"Hi, Bonnie. We were wondering. We'd love to know how we can help you." No, you're asking how you can help you. Just say that you help yourself. Help yourself. Help give yourself a hand, because honestly, it's a bad approach.
oh my God, I'm crying. So
People have been saying this phrase, "How can I help you?" till the beginning of time, forever. It's never well received. No one ever thinks that you're actually calling to help them. Am I right?
So
Here's what I would say instead. Here's my
She-
solution to help you.
oh my God.
I would say, how can we get involved? We love what you're doing over at Nicole and Kurt's place. How can we get involved in that project? We have something we can offer value to the project. Instead of, how can I help you today? How can I help you?
It's much more transparent, right? Like, how can I help you? Feels like
Try
you're
not to
trying
sound
to
like
make
a
that you really,
Verizon representative.
yeah.
Hi, Kurt. How can I help you today?
So Bonnie introduced that to me a few years ago, and it kills me every time you do that. Bonnie, you could be a stand-up. I told Nicole, I go, Nicole, wait till you meet Bonnie. She missed her calling. She could definitely do stand-up. But when as a matter of fact,
laugh, if as an entrepreneur, I'll say this: if you don't laugh, then you will cry.
then you,
And trust me, I
if you
cry a
don't-
lot. I'm not going to say that I don't cry, but the best thing to not cry would be to laugh as much as humanly possible.
That's right. And so and Nicole, and honestly, if you go into my, I have my Google Slides, I have like every LinkedIn workshop that I've ever done in person since I've met Bonnie, and I feature her every single time. And for a while, I had a slide. Can I help you? And I would recite Bonnie's routine about, like, how can I help you is basically, how can you help me? It's just like a verse, and I don't do it half as funny as Bonnie does, but
help
Bonnie,
me, help me, help me.
help me.
Not help me, help you. Help me, help me.
Help me. So, all right, so we're coming.
I didn't finish telling you my last bit of advice. Like, if you want to reach out for a B2B, for an idea, send a video, send a personal video to the email to the executive that you want to speak to.
Yeah, and you can do, like, there's Vidyard is free. You can get a free version of Vidyard that you can do that.
One thing for sure, you have to stand out, because you have to know that there's 50 other companies trying to get in the door just like you are.
Right.
Yeah. And if you, like, I just think about it for myself, I hate getting those cold emails in my inbox. I never read them. I just roll over them. Like, if I hate it, then everyone, like, you know what I mean? What do you have to think about?
It's so dinosaur, that approach, that you've got to find another way to break through. Honestly, get in your car and drive to headquarters. In the parking lot.
Right.
That would be less scary than the amount of emails that come through every day.
Walk in with a pizza or something, be creative,
Do something. Back in the day when we started, we had a whole plan. I'm not going to mention the company that we were going to do this to, but we were going to send their beverage, all their products with GoLidZ snapped on top, a huge tray of them with names written on, to be handed out. But as we dug a little deeper, we found out that probably wouldn't get past security.
Yeah. So, all right, that's another note. So, all right, Bonnie, we're coming into an hour. I want to be respectful of everybody's time here, and I want to be respectful of your time. So, a couple of things I want to recap. It was critical. You talked about, that product market fit, making your customer a hero. Our friend, dear Allison DeFord, that's a great line of hers.
That is her line.
How do you have, anti-digital? I think that was absolutely brilliant. You talked about, doing, as you're saying, go out, now that COVID hopefully is going away, go make that visit, the handwritten note, just so much value today. So many great tips, strategies. Help me. That is forever in my heart. I love when you do your routine on that one. So as we wind down, we're going to close things out. My last question for you. We talked about Annie was your hero as a little girl, though you were never really little, right? You at
No.
5'10", but you, as a little girl, Annie was your hero. Coming into, we just finished the quarter take. You guys believe that today? We're like finishing the quarter, first
No,
quarter.
I
Coming
cannot
into,
believe it.
coming into 2Q. Who or what is your inspiration moving forward? Who or what is your inspiration for you? GoLidZ. What's that look like?
Who or what
Is your inspiration?
I would have to say the people that surround me.
Nice.
Oh,
No, that's the truth, because I say this all the time. No one does anything on their own. No one.
You just posted it on LinkedIn yesterday, I think, didn't you? Or this week?
A couple days ago. Yeah, because it's true. You see all these stories and you look around and it looks as if, one person or one this, one that, and it's not. There's so many people behind the scenes that aren't getting credit for everything you see, including the post, including the creative, including the copy, including the picture or the video that was done. So yeah, that's where the inspiration comes from. It's the people that surround you. Those are the people that make it great,
Yeah. All
So.
right. All right. There are multiple drop the mic moments here today. There always is when Bonnie's has the mic. So Bonnie, thank you. Thank you for the bottom of my heart.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your relentlessness, your inspiration. And again, please connect with Bonnie on LinkedIn. You'll thank us later. Nicole, parting thoughts, words of wisdom. Again, we need to give a shout out to Damon. Damon, hopefully you caught this. I know you're having a great time.
We missed you, Damon.
We missed you, Damon. So Nicole, any parting thoughts that you want to share?
I just think, Bonnie, you're just a tremendous inspiration, not to everyone, but to women, of just like fierce tenacity and just perseverance. And I just really admire that. And the other day I had a post about, what is your spirit animal? I would love to end by you telling everyone what your spirit animal is. Because I think it's amazing. And I would love for you to share.
I said that my spirit animal would be a golden retriever. Mixed with a pit bull. No, I didn't say pit bull. No, I didn't say pit bull, actually. I said golden retriever and a bull in a china shop. Knocking everything over.
I just think that is just such a magic combo, and it is so true about you. Just
the golden retriever is like the empathetic, big-hearted and that I really am. But then the bull in the china shop is the other side of me, which is charging through and knocking everything over in my wake, trying to get where I want to get.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think to everyone out there,
I have a vision in my head now of a bull with a head of a golden retriever. It's very strange looking.
So I think challenge everyone to channel Bonnie, be that bull in a china shop, but also make sure you have that heart to lead the way. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. It's really true, Nicole, because you got to be the bull in the china shop. If you want to make it as an entrepreneur and you have an idea, you've got to be that person. But you can't do it if you're a jerk. Right. So you got to be a nice person. You got to be kind. You got to have empathy, and you got to be a good leader. So you got to find a way to be the nice bull, not the one that hurts people.
That's right.
Gores you.
Perfect. Well, hey. So on that note, Bonnie, again, guys, Nicole. How about a huge round of applause for Bonnie for just absolutely crushing it today, as always.
I love you guys too. Thank you for having me. It was so much fun as always.
Thank you, Bonnie. And so, guys, parting thoughts. Have an amazing, safe, incredible weekend. And two things. Words of wisdom from Bonnie. Get involved. Don't ask how you can help. How can you get involved? Number one. Number two, man, just be someone's inspiration. Bonnie was just such a wealth of inspiration for us today. Be somebody's inspiration. Bonnie, hang out with us for 1 second. Guys, have a great weekend. And you know what? We're taking a week off next week, a little spring break. And so
one footnote. If anyone watching is like, oh, I want to get the consumer pack, go to my profile. There's actually a link in my profile. It says GoLidZ Consumer Packs. Will bring you right to the landing page.
Cool.
There it is. So, all right, guys, have a great weekend. We'll see you.
Bye.